Our story begins in the early 2000s under the sands of central Iran in a place called Natanz. To the outside world, it was a pilot fuel enrichment plant, part of a peaceful nuclear energy program. But to the intelligence agencies of the West, Natanz represented an existential threat. It was the heart of Iran's clandestine effort to build a nuclear bomb. Inside this sprawling, fortified, and partially underground facility, thousands of centrifuges spun at supersonic speeds. These delicate, high-tech machines were enriching uranium, taking it step by step closer to weapons-grade material. The international community tried diplomacy, they tried sanctions, but the centrifuges at Natanz kept spinning. For the United States and its closest ally in the region, Israel, the clock was ticking. A nuclear-armed Iran was unthinkable. A conventional military strike was on the table, but the risks were astronomical. Bombing Natanz would likely kill civilians, ignite a full-scale war in the Middle East, and might not even succeed. The facility was buried under concrete, protected by air defenses. It was a hard target, an impossible target. General Michael Hayden, former director of the CIA and NSA, would later state the problem bluntly. The options were to let Iran get the bomb, launch a conventional attack, or try something different, something new. That something new was born in the most secret corridors of power. It was a program so classified, its name was a whisper: Operation Olympic Games, a joint venture between the United States National Security Agency, NSA, and Israel's elite cyber espionage unit, Unit 8200. Their mission was audacious, bordering on science fiction: to create a weapon that could leap across the digital divide and wreak havoc in the physical world. Their goal: to sabotage Natanz from the inside out, without leaving a single fingerprint. But to do that, they first had to solve an impossible puzzle. Natanz was what cyber experts call air-gapped. Its internal control systems were completely isolated from the outside world. There was no connection to the global internet. You couldn't just hack it from a basement in Maryland or a command center in Tel Aviv. To get inside Natanz, the weapon had to be physically carried in. It needed a human vector, a ghost, to breach the fortress walls. The architects of Olympic Games knew they were not just writing code, they were building a missile. And for this missile to hit its target, it needed a guidance system of unparalleled genius. It needed to be a predator, a digital shark engineered to hunt for one specific type of prey in a vast, closed-off ocean. What the NSA and Unit 8200 built was unlike any piece of malware the world had ever seen. When security researchers finally dissected it years later, they were stunned. Stuxnet wasn't a single program. It was a multi-stage, modular weapons system. It was, for all intents and purposes, a digital warhead. Its first genius lay in its method of propagation. It was a worm, meaning it could replicate itself and spread from computer to computer without any human interaction. It primarily targeted Microsoft Windows systems, and to do so, it came armed with an unprecedented arsenal: 4 zero-day exploits. In the world of cybersecurity, a zero-day is the ultimate skeleton key. It's a vulnerability in software, like Windows, that is unknown to the manufacturer and therefore has no patch, no defense. Discovering one zero-day is rare and valuable. Using one in an attack is a sign of a sophisticated actor. Stuxnet used 4. This was the digital equivalent of using a stealth bomber, a nuclear submarine, and a satellite weapon all in the same operation. The resources required were astronomical, pointing directly to a nation-state. One of these 0 days was a masterpiece of social engineering. It targeted .lnk files, the little icons for shortcuts on your Windows desktop. When you merely viewed the icon of an infected USB stick in Windows Explorer, you were already compromised. You didn't have to click anything, just looking was enough. This was how Stuxnet would jump the air gap. It would hide on a seemingly innocent USB drive, waiting for an unwitting engineer or contractor to plug it into their laptop and carry it into the heart of Natanz. Once inside a network, Stuxnet spread aggressively but stealthily. It used other 0 days to gain administrative privileges, effectively becoming the god of any machine it touched. It disguised its files as legitimate system drivers and used stolen, valid digital certificates from respected tech companies like Realtek and Jai Micron. This made it look like a trusted piece of software to any antivirus program, allowing it to move like a ghost through the system. But all of this, the spreading, the cloaking, was just the delivery mechanism. The true purpose of Stuxnet was its payload, its warhead. This part of the code was dormant until it found its precise target. Stuxnet wasn't interested in stealing credit card numbers or shutting down websites. It was hunting for something very specific, a software called Step 7, made by the German company Siemens. Step 7 is the software used to program and control industrial machinery, the brains behind factories, power plants, and crucially, the centrifuges at Natanz. These control systems are called PLCs, or Programmable Logic Controllers. Stuxnet was designed to find a PLC running a very specific configuration, one that matched the setup of the IR-1 centrifuges used by Iran. If it infected a computer that didn't have this exact configuration, it would simply do nothing. It was a digital sniper, aiming for a single person in a crowd of millions. When Stuxnet finally found its prey inside Natanz, it unleashed its masterstroke, a brilliant two-pronged attack designed to deceive as much as to destroy. First, the virus would quietly record about 20 minutes of normal, healthy operational data from the centrifuges, the frequencies, the speeds, the pressures. It stored this recording like a loop of film. Then the attack began. Stuxnet would subtly take control of the centrifuges. It would first command the machines to spin dangerously fast, up to 1410 Hz, well beyond their safety limits, putting immense stress on the delicate rotors. Then it would slow them down dramatically to as low as 2 Hz. It would repeat this cycle of extreme acceleration and deceleration over and over again. To the physical machine, this was torture. The aluminum rotors would warp, vibrate, and eventually shatter, destroying the centrifuge. But here was the true genius of the attack. While this physical destruction was happening, Stuxnet's second prong was at work. It played back that 20-minute recording of normal, healthy operations from the centrifuges. On their screens, everything looked perfect. The frequencies were stable, the machines were humming along beautifully. They were blind to the chaos unfolding just feet away from them. The weapon was not just destroying the target, it was creating a false reality for its operators. It was a magic trick, performed on industrial scale.
For a weapon this sophisticated, the infiltration vector had to be just as cunning. The creators of Stuxnet couldn't email it or upload it. They needed a patient zero, a human mule to carry their digital bomb across the threshold of Natanz. Cybersecurity experts believe the attack likely began with meticulous intelligence gathering. The NSA and Israeli intelligence would have mapped out the entire supply chain of the Iranian nuclear program. They would have identified the outside contractors, often Russian or Taiwanese companies, who helped build and maintain the industrial control systems. The scenario likely played out like this. An engineer from one of these contractor companies works on the Natanz systems. Before he leaves for Iran, his computer is compromised, maybe at a conference, maybe through a targeted phishing email, or perhaps an operative swapped his USB drive with an infected one. He doesn't notice a thing. He then flies to Iran and enters the high-security Natanz facility. He connects his laptop or plugs his USB drive into the internal network to perform diagnostics or updates. At that moment, the ghost is inside the machine. Stuxnet slithers out of the infected device and begins its silent hunt. From that first infected machine, it spreads. It moves from workstation to workstation, a digital plague sweeping through the isolated network. Most of the computers it infects are not its target, so it remains dormant, waiting. It's looking for the Siemens Step 7 software. It's looking for the specific fingerprint of the centrifuge control systems. And then it finds one. The code awakens. The attack sequence begins. For months, chaos reigned at Natanz, but it was a quiet, baffling chaos. Centrifuges were failing at an astonishing rate. Machines that were supposed to last for years were breaking down in weeks. Iranian scientists were mystified. They blamed faulty parts, incompetent engineers, bad design. They replaced hundreds of machines only for the new ones to fail as well. The program was grinding to a halt, crippled by a phantom menace they couldn't see and couldn't understand. The beauty of the attack was its subtlety. Stuxnet didn't cause a catastrophic explosive failure. That would have been too obvious. Instead, it caused just enough damage, just enough disruption to sow confusion and delay. It made Iran's best scientists doubt their own abilities. The weapon wasn't just breaking centrifuges, it was breaking the confidence of the entire nuclear program. Estimates suggest that Stuxnet ultimately destroyed nearly 1,000 of Iran's 5,000 operational centrifuges. It set the program back by months, perhaps even years. From the perspective of its creators in Fort Meade and Tel Aviv, Operation Olympic Games was a stunning success. A secret war had been fought and won, and the enemy never even knew they were under attack. But a weapon this powerful, this virulent, is hard to contain. And a fatal mistake was about to unleash their secret weapon upon the entire world.
The architects of Stuxnet designed their weapon with a self-destruct date, but they also made it incredibly aggressive in its desire to spread. And this aggression would be its downfall. Sometime in 2009 or 2010, the virus escaped its intended prison. The most likely scenario is that an engineer took a laptop that had been inside Natanz, a laptop now teeming with Stuxnet, and connected it to the internet when he returned home. Once it touched the global network, Stuxnet began to spread, and it spread everywhere. It was a predator released from its cage, now replicating uncontrollably across the globe. It infected systems in India, Indonesia, Russia, and even the United States. But outside of Natanz, it was harmless. It infected computers, looked for the Siemens PLCs, didn't find them, and went back to sleep. For most of the world,
It was just a piece of highly complex but inert code. The first signs of trouble came from a small cybersecurity firm in Belarus. An Iranian client had reported that their computers were getting stuck in a strange reboot loop. The firm investigated and found a piece of malware unlike anything they had ever seen. It was massive, labyrinthine, and used multiple zero-day exploits. They were stumped. They sent their findings to the global cybersecurity community. Experts at firms like Symantec and Kaspersky Lab began to pick it apart. It was like an archaeological dig into a piece of alien technology. Ralph Langner, a German expert in industrial control systems, was one of the first to grasp its true purpose. When he realized the malware was targeting Siemens PLCs with a very specific configuration, he made a terrifying leap of logic. He knew only one place in the world used that setup on a large scale: the Iranian nuclear facility at Natanz. He announced his findings at a conference, and the room fell into stunned silence. This wasn't a criminal tool. This wasn't hacktivism. This was a state-sponsored cyber weapon, and its target was a nuclear program. The revelation sent shockwaves around the world. The pieces of the puzzle started to fit together. The mysterious centrifuge failures in Iran, the whispers of a joint US-Israeli cyber program. Stuxnet was the smoking gun. The discovery of Stuxnet changed everything. It was the digital equivalent of the atomic bomb. It proved unequivocally that a piece of code could cross the line from the virtual world to the physical and cause real-world damage. The genie was out of the bottle. The legacy of Stuxnet is profound and terrifying. It single-handedly kicked off a new, silent arms race, a digital Cold War. Nations around the world, seeing what was possible, began pouring billions into developing their own offensive cyber capabilities. Iran, feeling the sting of the attack, massively accelerated its own cyber warfare program, later launching retaliatory attacks against American banks and Saudi oil facilities. The code for Stuxnet is now out there for anyone to study and repurpose. Its techniques have been copied by criminals and other nation-states. The Pandora's box that was opened by Operation Olympic Games can never be closed again.
Stuxnet was a weapon of genius, a testament to the incredible power of human ingenuity. But it represents a threshold from which there is no return. It blurred the line between espionage and warfare, between a bit and an atom. The debate still rages. Was Stuxnet a brilliant surgical strike that prevented a war and a nuclear arms race? Or was it a reckless act that made the entire world more dangerous, unleashing a new form of conflict with no rules of engagement and no clear battle lines? Perhaps it was both. The centrifuges at Natanz are spinning again, but the world is different now. We live in an age where our critical infrastructure, our power grids, our water supplies, our financial systems are all connected, all vulnerable. The war is no longer just on a distant battlefield. It is here, in the invisible network that underpins our entire civilization. Stuxnet was the first shot fired in this new war. It will not be the last. It forced us to confront a chilling new reality. In the 21st century, the most powerful weapons may not be the ones you can see, but the ones hidden in a million lines of code, waiting for the command to attack. And the next global conflict might not begin with a bang, but with a quiet, insidious click.